my speech this morning is JFK, A Story of Perseverance. He was born in 1917 to a wealthy Irish family, Catholic family, and his dad, Joseph Kennedy, was considered the fifth wealthiest person in the U.S. when he was growing up. He was very sick throughout his whole entire life. When he was very little, he got diagnosed with scarlet fever. It actually almost killed him. He would later, as he got a little bit older, he tried to serve in the Navy and failed the medical exam twice. Eventually his dad got it doctored to where he could serve our country in the Navy, and he was put in the Navy intelligence originally because of his physical condition. Eventually he was assigned to PT Boat 109, and he was sent out to the Pacific Ocean, and he was on, the type of boat they had was really lightweight hull, and he had to, they call it the bucking Broncos of the Pacific. And during that period of service, a Navy destroyer, a Japanese destroyer, went halfway through his boat and killed several of his crew members. And he spotted an island about 3 miles away, and he told his crew that he said, look, we got to swim to that shore if we're going to get saved. And so one of the guys who couldn't really swim because of the destroyer hurt him so bad, he took the guy's strap from his life jacket, put it in his teeth, and swam him 3 miles ashore, and then was able to get them rescued and brought back to the U.S. And he was considered a Navy war hero, which is incredible considering the fact that he failed the medical exam twice trying to get to serve our country. Eventually, after the war, he decided he came back actually 125 pounds, and it took such a huge toll on his back that he would live with back pain the rest of his life. He was eventually diagnosed with Addison's disease, which the treatment he had for it with steroid shots and other medications actually eroded the spine in his back. When he went to campaign, he decided to serve in the House of Representatives in Massachusetts. His grandfather was vacating the seat, and no one really thought he had a chance at all because of his back and just the ability that he would have to get up and campaign all day long. In fact, he had to wear a steel brace around his back, and they would tape a bandage in a figure-8 position so he could stand up and walk, and would have to go up 3 floors in Massachusetts all day long, 12 hours a day, and he never complained. People said it was just amazing how he did that. And when he first started giving speeches, he was so nervous in front of people that he was shaking the piece of paper. In fact, one of his campaign people would sit there and mouth to make sure he could remember what he was saying. And he had to teach himself to be a candidate, and he was willing to speak in front of YMCAs anywhere he could give a speech during the campaign. He did it, and his dad had enough money to help get flyers and get his name out there. He did win the seat, and then he later, after that, decided to run for senator. He was actually the youngest person in the House of Representatives. I think he was 27, if I remember correctly at the time. And then he decided to run for senator after that, and he faced a Henry Cabot Lodge who had never been defeated. And his campaign people said, look, don't run for Senate, run for governor first. You got a better chance at that than being a senator. And he ended up beating Henry Cabot Lodge. He had gotten to the point that where he was a really good speaker. And during the Senate, as a senator, he did everything he could to get his name out there, to try and distinguish himself from his fellow congressmen. He actually got to speak on Meet the Press, was the youngest person to ever speak on that show at the time. And he was on the Foreign Relations Committee as a senator. And they had something in Albania or something, that an event that occurred that he was able to get up there and speak about it. After getting in serving as senator, he decided to run for president. And he was Irish and Catholic. That was really working against him and against his odds there. He campaigned throughout the U.S., at the time, party politics, the person who would serve or be nominated for the Democratic nominee was usually someone who was Speaker of the House or Senate, and the guy who was in that position was Lyndon B. Johnson. And he actually didn't even decide to get into the race till the very end. But his dad, with the money and his ability to go around and change politics and the way people ran for election at that time, he got his name out there enough. And then because he needed to get Texas to win the Senate or win the presidential election, he had Lyndon B. Johnson serve with him as his vice president candidate. And he won by less than 1% of the margin of votes to be elected president. And so throughout his life, I think his perseverance through his health problems, he faced the odds every which way, running for House of Representatives, Senate, and President, and he overcame it through his own will. So I think his story is something really to admire, looking back and thinking through the fact that after the war at 125 pounds, no one thought he would get there, and he proved everyone wrong. So I really think that's something to keep in mind through life. No matter what you overcome, physical abilities, you can